Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we'll learn about the material master configuration in SAP MM. In our last video, we learned about the material master maintenance from an end user perspective. In today's video, we'll learn about the material master configuration. And in this first part, we'll understand about the material type configuration and the number range assignment. We'll see what is material type in detail, and we'll see how we can define and assign the number ranges to each material type. So let's start. So to go to material master configuration, we'll go to SPRO, SAP reference IMG, logistics general, material master, and here you can see we have basic settings. And under the basic setting, the first configuration that we'll see is the material type configuration. So to see the material types configuration, we have to go to define attributes of material types. So let's go to this link. So you can see here, you have all the list of material types which is existing in the system. So to see the standard material type, we'll click on this position. We'll enter ROH. So you can see material type ROH is the standard material type for raw materials. In our previous video, we already have discussed the significance of material types, what all different standard material types are there in the system, and what all control functions are there for material types. In today's video, we are seeing the details of those configurations. So to see the detail of any material type, either we can select it and click on this particular icon here, or you can double click on that particular material type. So let's click on this icon. So you can see in this screen, you have all the control functions of a particular material type. You can see the material type key is ROH here, and the description of the material type is mentioned here. Then you have a field called product type group. Now this particular field basically tells the system that whether this particular material type corresponds to a material or a service. In S4HANA, you can use something called as lean service procurement. In that process, we use this particular field called product type group. So you can see if you take a drop down, if you select blank or 1, it corresponds to material, and entry 2 is for service. So for the particular material type which is for service procurement, you will find this particular product type group as 2. Let's first see that. So we'll go back, and if you enter material type as SERV, and if you double click here, you can see for SERV the product type group is 2, and this particular special material type is used for lean service procurement. Okay, this is a special functionality which is available in S4HANA. Here you have to maintain this product type group as 2, and then you can use this in that particular process. Okay, so let's go back, and again we'll open ROH. So you can see in this particular configuration screen, you have multiple sections. You have a section for general data, then special material types, user departments, internal or external purchase orders, classification, valuation, quantity or value updating, and retail specific fields. Now all these sections correspond to specific configuration for any material type. So we'll see all these sections one by one. So you can see you have first section for general data. So here you have something called as field reference and screen reference. Now what is a field and screen reference? The field reference basically is used to control the field selection of your material master. Okay, you will have multiple fields in the material master which you can control by using this field reference. That is, you can make any field as optional, mandatory, display or hidden. That particular control is configured through this field reference for material type. Then you have something called a screen reference. Now whenever you will be creating your material master, multiple screens will come up. So what all screens are presented to the end user and in which sequence those screen will come is controlled by this screen reference for material type. Okay, so we'll see these two configuration in detail when we learn about the field selection and screen sequence settings. There we'll see how these fields control your field selection and screen sequence settings. Okay, then you have a field called authorization group. So you can control through particular authorization objects that whether a user will be authorized to create a particular material or not. So based on this particular entry in this authorization group, you will allow or disallow a user to create material with this material type. Okay, so this is that authorization group. Then you have cross plant material status. So we'll see this configuration later, that how you can assign statuses to a material master, and that particular status can either be at plant level or at cross plant level, that is at client level. So this particular field will be defaulted in your material master if you create material through this material type. You can see you'll have multiple inputs in this cross plant material status field. Here if you maintain any entry, then that entry will be defaulted to your material master. Then you have item category group. This is also a master data which is used in the ST process. So you can default this item category group through this material type configuration. So whenever you create any material with this material type, this item category group will be defaulted. Okay. Then you have something called as quantity structure. This particular setting is used for costing purpose, that whether your costing will be with quantity structure or without quantity structure. So that particular setting is controlled here. Then you have initial status for batch and external number assignment without check. Now if you activate this checkbox, then if you enter any number externally, then system will not check whether it is lying within your allowed number range. Then you see you have a special section for special material types. So as we discussed in our previous video, we have material types created for special business transactions or special business functions. So those business functions can only be utilized if you have activated these settings here. So for example, you have settings for configurable material, pipeline material, then manufacturer part material, and so on. So if you want to use for special business transaction, then you must activate this checkbox. So for example, if we see the material type for pipeline, let's go to that particular material type. So the material type is pipe here. We'll press enter, and if you select this particular material type and go to the details, you can see for material type pipe, this particular checkbox has been activated. So all these checkboxes are for special business functions which you can assign to special material types. Okay, so this pipe material type is a special material type which is used for pipeline material process. There we have this checkbox activated. We already have video on this particular process, that is pipeline procurement. You can see that video and find out about the pipeline procurement process in detail. Okay, now let's go back again and go to this ROH material type. Now we have understood about this section. Now let's see this particular section. Now as we discussed in our previous video, whenever you will be creating the material code, first thing that you will have to enter is industry sector and the material type. And in the next screen, system will present you with a list of all the views which you have to select, against which you have to maintain the material master record. Those views basically correspond to multiple departments, and for a particular material type, what all views will be proposed on the screen is configured in this particular section here. And you can see the name of this section is user departments, and whatever user departments or views you select here will only be proposed on the screen. So you can see the production resources or tools has not been selected, warehouse management has not been selected. So these views will not be presented on the screen when we create material master with material type ROH. Let's see that. So we'll go to MM01 first and we'll enter here ROH and we'll press enter. Now you see you do not have warehouse management view available here. If we scroll down also, you can see the warehouse management view is not available in this particular window. Okay, now why that particular view is not available? Because if you go to the material type configuration, you can see the warehouse management has not been selected. Also the production resources or tools has not been selected here. So if you again go to this particular screen, you will not find that particular view appearing here. If you go up also, you will not find that particular view, that is production resources or tools. So depending upon the type of material which you are creating, you can select or deselect the views which will be presented on the screen through this particular configuration. Okay, so whatever views are presented to you when you create a material master with this material type is configured in this particular section. Okay, then you have this section, internal or external purchase orders. So as we discussed in our previous video also, material type control the internal or external procurement for the particular material master. Now what is internal and external procurement? Internal procurement means that whether you can create production order or not. External procurement means whether you can create purchase orders or not. And you can see that particular configuration is available here. So you can see for external purchase order, the setting is 2. That means external purchase orders are allowed. Now, if you go to this internal purchase order, you can see internal purchase orders are also allowed. So for material type ROH, you can also create a production order and a purchase order. Okay, so this is how this particular setting has been done. We'll create a custom material type and see how this particular setting affects your creation of purchase order. Okay, then you have something called as classification. So whenever you create a material master, you can assign class and characteristic to that particular material master. Let's say that you want to create a material master and enter specification of that material master through class and characteristic methodology. Then you can enter a class type and class here, which will be defaulted whenever you will create the material master through this particular material type. So this is to default the class type and class in your material master whenever you create that material master through this material type. Then you have this very important section here, which is called valuation. Now, as we discussed earlier also, material type plays a very important role in the material valuation. That is, what is the price control, what is the account category reference, and whether this price control is mandatory or not. Now, let's understand all these three fields here. So, the first field is price control. Now, what does this field mean? This field basically controls what type of valuation will be there for your material. And you can see you have two options available here. One is the standard price and another one is the moving average price. Now, what is the difference? Standard price means that you will enter a price in the material master. Whenever you do any goods receipt, system will not take the price from your purchase order. System will always post the material inventory at the standard price that you have entered in the material master. Okay, so let's say that you have entered a standard price as 100 rupees and you have created a purchase order for 120 rupees. If you do goods receipt, system will post the inventory value considering 100 rupees only. That is the material master standard price, and the differential value system will post to something called as price difference account. Okay, but if you have maintained the price control as moving average price, then what system will do? System will consider the PO price and will adjust the price of the material accordingly. Basically, system will keep on calculating the average price every time you do a goods receipt, or if you do an invoice receipt and change the value during that particular invoice receipt process. We'll see both these price control in detail in our subsequent videos when we learn about the material valuation in detail. But at this stage, you can understand that you have two options for price control. Either you can keep the price control as moving average price or standard price. Normally for raw material, we keep this price control as moving average price, and for finished good, we keep the price control as standard price. We'll see this in detail in our subsequent video when we learn about the material valuation. Then you have something called as account category reference. Now every material type will be assigned to something called as account category reference. In our previous video also, we saw that when we were maintaining the accounting view of the material, we were given with a list of drop down for the valuation class field. Let's see that again. So we'll go to MM01. We'll press enter and let's select basic data 1 and accounting 1. And we'll press enter. Let's enter our plant. Let's enter some description here, unit of measurement and material group. And let's press enter again. So you can see we are in the accounting view and we have a field called valuation class. If we take a drop down, you can see this list of valuation class which is coming up on the screen. Now this list is controlled by this particular field which is called account category reference. Okay, for any material type, you are not supposed to enter the list of valuation classes which are applicable for that material type. What you will do, you will only enter something called as account category reference, and at a separate configuration, we will enter what all valuation class lie under this account category reference. I'll just show you that also. We'll go to SPRO, SAP reference IMG, materials management. We'll go to valuation and account assignment. We'll go to account determination, and here you can see define valuation class. Now, if you go to account category reference, you will find the list of all the account category references which are there in your system. And if you go to this material type configuration, if you take a drop down, you will get all those account category references. So the standard account category reference for ROH is 0001. Okay. So this is for reference for raw material. You can see the description is reference for raw material. Now, if we again go back to that configuration, and if you go back from here, now, if you go to the valuation class option, you can see here you can assign the valuation class to account category reference. Okay. So to filter out this account category reference 0001, we'll go to selection by contents. We'll select account category reference. We'll click on OK. And here we'll enter 0001. And we'll click on select. So you can see under account category reference 0001, you have these valuation classes mapped here. And these are the valuation classes which we are getting in the drop down when we are creating the material master with material type ROH. If we again go back to that screen of material creation, let me just close this again. And let me again take a drop down here. You can see this is the list of valuation classes which are presented to the end user, and this list of valuation class is configured here against the account category reference. You can see here, and this account category reference is entered in the material type configuration. You can see we have entered account category reference as 0001 here, and that is why in the valuation class field we are getting that list of valuation classes. And this configuration we can do from here also. If you go back, you can see you have a material type account category reference combination configuration here. If you click on this particular button, system will again send you to that material type configuration only. And that's why you can see system is telling me that data is locked. If you click on yes, you can see this particular setting can be done from here also. And this is basically the setting which is available in the material type also. You can see here in the material type, you can assign this account category reference. Okay. Then we have this third option available, which is price control mandatory. Now, what does this checkbox do? Basically, for a material type, you enter a price control and then select this checkbox. Then if you create a material with this material type, system will not allow you to change the price control on the material creation screen. Let us see that. So again, if you go to the material creation screen, you can see here you are creating the material. You can see this price control field is grayed out. I cannot change this field here. And why this field is grayed out? Because I have selected this checkbox telling the system that price control is mandatory. That is, whatever price control you have entered in the material type configuration will be defaulted in the material master during material master creation, and that price control you will not be able to change on the material creation screen. That is, the end user will not be able to change the price control field in the material master. And you can see when I'm creating this material master, I cannot change this price control field here. Okay, so this is the significance of this particular checkbox. Then you have this particular section available here. Now, this section basically tells the system whether your material is evaluated or non-valuated or non-stock material. That is, whenever you will do a goods receipt or a goods issue, whether system will update the quantity or the value or both. This particular setting we have discussed in detail in our valuated, non-valuated and non-stock material video. I will keep the link in the description of this video. You can watch that video to find out the detail about this quantity and value updating control. And you can see for each of these updating, you have three options. For quantity updating and value updating, you have in all valuation areas, in no valuation area and by valuation area. Now the valuation area configuration also I have discussed in that video, that how you can configure your valuation area as a plant or a company code. Now in almost all the organizations, the valuation areas are configured as plant only. So you can understand here that valuation area basically stands for plant. Okay, so for quantity updating, you have in all plants, in no plant and by plant. And for value updating also, you have in all plant, in no plant and by plant. And if you have selected by valuation area or by plant, then you have to enter for each of the plant or the valuation area what is this configuration. So if you have selected this checkbox, then you have to go to this particular folder here, and you can see for each valuation area or for each plant you can have this particular setting available here. So you can have quantity and value updating configuration based on plant also, and for that you have to select this particular checkbox here. You can see this checkbox is by valuation area, that is for each valuation area you can have configuration for quantity updating and value updating. And if you see the standard material type for non-valuated material, then you will find this particular setting changed there. Let's see that. So we'll go back and we'll select the material type UNBW. You can see UNBW is for non-valuated material. If you double click this, you will see quantity updating is by valuation area, but value updating is in no valuation area. That is, if you create a material with this material type, then it will be treated as a non-valuated material. When you will create the GR, system will update the quantity, but system will not update the value. And if you go to the configuration of non-stock material, that is material type NLAG, and if you double click here, you will find that this quantity and value updating has been configured, that this quantity and value updating will not happen in any valuation area. So you can see quantity updating is selected in no valuation area, and value updating also is selected in no valuation area. So if you create a material with material type NLAG and if you do GR, then system will not update the quantity and the value both. Okay, now if you want details on this valuated, non-valuated and non-stock material, then I'll highly recommend you to watch that video on our channel where I have discussed all these three materials in detail. Okay, now let's go back and again let's go to the ROH material type. So we have discussed all these sections, that is general data, special material types, user departments, internal or external purchase orders, classification, valuation and quantity and value updating. So in this way we discussed all the major configurations which are available for the material type. Now you can verify other material types also and see what all changes happen when we change the material type. So if you go to the finished good, so we'll go to FERT. So you can see FERT is the standard material type of finished good. If you double click here, you can see here that external purchase order has an entry 1 here. If you take a drop down, you will find 1 is for external purchase orders allowed but warning issued. That is, if you are creating a purchase order for finished good, then system will give you a warning message that this is a finished good. Normally it is produced within the organization, but if the end user is creating a purchase order, then system will give a warning. And for internal purchase order, you can see this will be allowed. That is, you can create production orders and then receive this material in your inventory. And you can see in the valuation section, price control is selected as standard price. Okay, so as we discussed earlier, raw materials are managed at moving average price and finished goods are managed at standard price, because finished good you will be producing in-house and you will be deciding the price of that material. Okay, and that particular price will be maintained as a standard price. And you can see the account category reference is also different from what was maintained in the material type ROH, that was for raw materials. So if you take a drop down, this 0009 stands for reference for finished products, and this particular account category reference will be attached to a different set of valuation classes. And if you create a material with this material type, then if you take a drop down in the valuation class field, you will be presented with a different set of valuation class. Let's see that. So let's go to MM01 again. And this time we'll select FERT here. We'll press enter. We'll select basic data 1 and accounting 1. We'll press enter. Let's enter the plant. Let's again press enter. Let's enter some description here. Unit of measurement and the material group. And let's press enter again. Now you see you have price control as S here. Now, why this price control S is coming? Because if you go to the material type configuration, you can see this price control has been selected as standard price here. And because of this, when we are creating the material code with material type FERT, your price control is coming as S. And here you can see I can change this price control in this MM01 screen also. Now, why this is happening? Because again, if we go to this material type configuration, this price control mandatory checkbox has not been selected. So the end user has the option to change the price control field while creating the material with this particular material type. Okay, so you can see here when I'm creating this material, I can change this price control from S to V also. Okay, and you can see if we go to this valuation class and take a drop down, you will find a different set of valuation classes. If we again go back to the MM01 for raw material, and if you take a drop down here, you can see you had these valuation classes. And if you go to the finished good creation screen, you can see you have this list of valuation class. So why you are getting a different list of valuation classes? Because for this material type, the account category reference is different. You can see here the account category reference is 0009. And earlier for raw material, the account category reference was 0001. And if you again go to the configuration for valuation classes, if you go back from here, we'll go to the valuation class button here. And again, we'll go to selection by content. And here we'll enter 0009. We'll click on select. So you can see this list of valuation class, which is mapped to the account category reference 0009, is coming in the drop down when I'm creating material for material type FERT. Okay. You can see here 0009 is assigned to these valuation classes, and this 0009 is entered in the material type configuration here. So you can see how different material types are associated to different control functions through this material type configuration, and how during material master creation all these control functions play a vital role in deciding the fields of your material master record. So in this way we have covered this whole configuration of material type. Now let's create a custom material type and see how we can change these settings and how the material master creation screens are changed. Okay, so now let's see how we can create our own custom material type. So let's say that we have to create a custom material type for our raw materials. So what we'll do, we will copy the configuration of the standard material type and then we'll make changes to that particular configuration. So always remember that whenever you have to create a custom material type, you have to select a appropriate standard material type and copy the configurations from there. Okay, so what we are doing now, we are creating a custom material type for our raw materials. So we'll go back from here. We'll go to the ROH standard material type. We'll select this material type and we'll click on the copy button here. Now we'll enter the key for our custom material type. So we'll enter YROH and we'll enter raw materials custom. We'll click OK. Now again we'll go to YROH, and let's say that for this material type I do not want the sales related views to come up on the screen. That is, this is a raw material type which I'll not be selling to anyone. So for that, what we have to do, we have to deselect this sales view here or this sales department here. Okay, so what we have done, we have deselected this user department sales from here, and let's save this material type. And now let's create a material master through this new material type. So we'll go to MM01 and we'll select material type as YROH. Okay, so you can see YROH is the custom material type which we have created. Now if we press enter, you will see that the sales related views are not coming on the screen. If we scroll down also, you can see the sales related view are not appearing. Okay, if we again go to the ROH material master creation screen, let's go back from here. And again, let's go to MM01 and let's select ROH. and let's press enter. You can see we have these three views appearing on the screen. That is for sales. That is sales organization data 1, sales organization data 2, and sales general or planned data. These three views are coming because in the material type ROH configuration, the sales user department has been selected. But in our YROH, we have deselected that user department. So if we go to this create material screen for our new material type, you can see you are not finding those three views appearing here, which are applicable for sales related activities. Okay, so through this user department configuration, you can control what all views are coming on the screen. So now let's save this configuration. Now let's create a custom material type for our finished good, and we'll change the configuration in this particular section. So again, we'll go back. Again, we'll go to the material type configuration. We'll select FERT, and we'll select this and we'll click on copy, and let's enter YERT here, and we'll enter finished good custom. We'll press enter. And now we'll open this YERT configuration. And here for external purchase order, let's select 0 here. So this is for no external purchase order allowed. So we'll select 0 here and we'll save this material type. Now let's create a material with this material type. So we'll open a new screen. We'll go to MM01 and we'll select YERT here and we'll press enter. We'll select basic data 1, purchasing, storage 1 and accounting 1. We'll enter our plant and the storage location. We'll press enter. Let's enter a description. Let's enter a unit of measurement and a material group. Let's press enter. Let's press enter again. And again we'll press enter and we'll go to accounting 1. And here we'll enter the valuation class. And let's enter a standard price here. And let's save this material master. So you can see we have created this material code with material type YERT. Now let's create a purchase order and see how system behaves. So we'll go to ME21N. We'll enter a vendor and we'll enter the material code that we just created now. And we'll press enter. Let's enter our plant. Now you can see system gives me an error that external procurement not defined for material 206. Now why this error is coming? Because in the material type configuration, I have entered that external purchase orders are not allowed for the material which belongs to this material type. If we again go to this configuration, you can see for YERT, I had selected external purchase order as 0 here. That stands for no external purchase orders allowed. And hence when I'm creating the purchase order, system is giving me this error that external procurement not defined for material 206. So in this way you understood that for a material type, you can allow or disallow internal procurement and external procurement. Internal procurement means creation of production order. External procurement means creation of purchase order. Okay. One more thing we'll do, we'll go to this material type configuration and we'll select this checkbox also. And now let's save this material type configuration. Now let's again create a material with this material type. So we'll go to MM01 and we have this material type selected here. Let's press enter. Let's select basic data 1 and accounting 1 only this time. Let's enter plant. We'll enter some description, unit of measurement and material group, and we'll press enter. And you can see this time for this material type, I cannot change the price control entry here. That is, I cannot change this price control from S to V. You can see here S is for standard price and V is for moving average price, but I cannot change it here. Now why this is happening? Because for this material type, I have selected this particular checkbox here. Okay, so in this way we saw how you can create the custom material types and how you can change the configuration as per your requirement. Now let's see what is the meaning of number range and how we can create and assign number ranges for various material types. So let's see that. So before we see the configuration for number ranges, first let's understand what is the meaning of number range. So as you saw that when we were creating the material with these material types, system was automatically assigning a number to our material master. Let's see that again. So again we'll go to MM01. We'll go to MM01 and we'll select material type as ROH and let's press enter. We'll select basic data 1 and let's press enter again. And you can see system assigns a number to my material master. You can see automatically this number was assigned. Now this number is starting with digit 3 and it has 10 digits in its material number. So this auto assignment of this number and this particular range for this number is configured through something called as number range. Okay, so in the system we have two types of number ranges. One is called internal number range and another one is called external number range. Now what is the difference between these two? An internal number range means that system will automatically assign a number to your material master, and this number will always be numeric in nature. That is, each character of this number will be numeric. You can see all these 10 characters in this particular material number is numeric. So this internal number range means that system will assign a numeric entry to your material number. Okay, now for external number range, system will not assign any number to your material master. You will be entering that material number externally in the MM01 screen. Let's go to MM01. You can see you have a field for material. Now this field is basically for all the material types which are assigned to the external number range. That is, the end user will be entering the material externally, and this time you can enter a numeric entry or a non-numeric entry also. So this particular number range is very important in your organization. If you want that the end user should enter its own material number in the material master record, then you must have an external number range assignment. If you want that user should not enter any number and system should assign a material number to your material master, then you must have a internal number range assignment. And if you want both these options, that is, user is also allowed to enter the material number in this screen, or if user does not make any entry in this screen and simply press enter and then enter the details, system should assign a number range internally, then that option is also available. That is, for any material type, you can have internal and external number range both. We'll see how this configuration is done and how this internal and external number range assignment affects your material creation process. Okay, so let's see that. So we'll go back from here. We'll again go back. And you can see under material types configuration, you have this link for define number ranges for each material type. So you have to understand that number ranges are assigned to the material types. So whenever you select a material type, system automatically understands what kind of number range assignment is there. That is, whether internal or external number range or both are allowed for your material type, and what is the range under which the number is to be entered either by the system or externally by the end user. Okay, these two things system decides automatically when you select the material type. Okay, so let's go to this link here. And you can see you have these three buttons available here. That is display intervals, change intervals, and change NR status. That is change number range status. And you have number range object as material NR, that is for material master number range. Now this whole number range is a two-step process. As I told you, a material type can be assigned to internal and external number range both. So first you create a number range group, and then you can assign a internal number range and a external number range, and that number range group you will assign to your material type. Now, if you want your material type to only have internal number ranges, then you have to create a group under which you must maintain only the internal number range interval. If you want your material type to have only the external number range, then you must create a group and add only the external number range interval to that group. If you want both these internal and external number range for your material, then you have to create a number range group where you will assign both these intervals, that is internal number range interval and external number range interval. Okay, so to display all the number range intervals which are existing in the system, we have to click on this button here, that is display intervals, and you can see for every number range interval you will have a number range number and you have from and to number. Okay, so you can see for number range 01 you have from number and a to number, and whenever you will create a material master with a material type which is assigned to this number range, system will automatically pick a number within this particular range. Okay, and you can see for each number range you have this particular column available which basically tells whether this number range interval is internal or external. So you can see the name of this column is external. So if you activate this checkbox against any number range interval, then that particular number range will be basically for external number assignment. That is, for this number range number 02, you have this number range available, but you have to enter the number externally in the MM01 screen, and system will check whether that number is lying in this particular range or not. Okay, so you can see these number ranges are basically external number range, which if you assign to the material type, then you will have to enter the number externally in the MM01 screen. And you can see we also have a column for NR status. This basically tells that which number is currently assigned to the last material which you created with this number range. Now what we discussed earlier, once you create these number range intervals, you have to assign them into groups. So how we can assign that? So we have to go back from here, and you can see we have this particular icon for change groups. Okay, so for any group you can assign an internal number range interval and external number range interval, or you can only assign an internal number range or a external number range interval, and this number range group you assign to the material type. So what we'll do, first we will verify what is the group which is assigned to the standard material type ROH, and then we'll come back to this configuration and see what all number ranges are assigned to that particular group. Okay, so we'll go back from here, and you can see we have this particular icon available here to see the overview of this number range group assignments. So if you click this particular button here, you can see first you have a group, then you have these material types which are assigned to this group, and you have this number range which has been assigned to this particular group. And you can see for this group only one number range interval has been assigned, which is external in nature. Okay, so you have this number range interval which is assigned with external number range assignment, and you can see this group 1 has both these number range intervals assigned. That is, it has an internal number range also assigned and an external number range also assigned to it. Okay, so to see to which group our material type ROH has been assigned, we'll click on this particular icon here, that is for find. We'll enter ROH here and we'll press enter. And you can see here we have our standard material type ROH. We'll click this particular entry here. And if we scroll up, you can see this ROH has been assigned to this particular group, and this particular group is assigned to only one number range interval, which basically has internal number range assignment. And whenever we'll create a material code with this material type, first system will see that this material type is assigned to this group, which has one number range interval which is internal in nature, and hence system will automatically assign a material number in this particular range. And hence when we're creating our material with material type ROH, system was creating a material with 10 digits within this range only. Let's again see that. So again we'll go to MM01. We have selected ROH here. Let's press enter. Let's select basic data 1, and you can see this particular material number has been assigned by the system internally. You can see this number is automatically generated, and this number is lying within this range which is assigned to our material type. You can see this number which was assigned automatically by the system is lying within this range here. And you can see you do not have assignment to any number range interval which is external in nature for this particular number range group. So if you try to enter any number externally, system will give you error. Let's see that. So again, we'll go to MM01 and let's enter a number externally here. And let's press enter. You can see system gives me an error that no external number assignment possible for material type raw materials SAP standard. And why this is happening? Because our material type ROH is assigned to this particular group which is assigned to this number range only, and this number range is internal in nature. And how you can verify that? So for that we'll have to go to this material number range group. So we'll go back. We can either click on this icon, that is to display groups, or we can click on this icon, that is for change groups. So let's click on this icon here, and here again we'll find our material type ROH. So we'll click on this icon. Let's enter ROH here and we'll press enter, and let's select this particular entry here. So you can see our material type ROH is assigned to this particular group. You can see this particular text is for group text, and you have this number range interval which has been assigned to this particular group which is assigned to this material type. So let's see this number range interval 36. So we'll go back and we'll click on this button here, and if you scroll down, you can see number range interval 36 is for this number range, and it has internal number range assignment because this external checkbox is deselected here. So whenever you create a material code with material type ROH, first system checks to which group this material type has been assigned. So we can check it from here also. If we again find ROH, you can see this ROH is assigned to this particular group here, and this particular group is assigned to this particular number range interval, and through that number range interval your number range is decided by the system, and this number range 36 corresponds to an internal number range interval. You can see here 36 is for this number range interval, and hence when you try to create the material with material type ROH, system automatically try to assign a number within this range internally. Now let's see how you can assign both internal and external number range to any group, and then assign it to your material type, and then create the material with internal and external number range assignment both. Okay, so let's go back from here. We'll again go to the overview, and you can see this group 1 is assigned to two number range intervals. First is the internal number range, and second one is the external number range. You can see here this particular X is for external. So always remember that for any group you can assign exactly two number ranges. One is internal and another one is external, or you can either assign only one internal number range interval or one external number range interval. So you have three options. Either you assign a single internal number range interval, or a single external number range interval, or one internal and one external number range interval. Okay, and in this case you can see this particular group has both these assignments. So now we'll assign our custom material type to this particular group, and then we'll see how we can create the material with internal number range and external number range both. Okay, so how you can assign a particular material type to a given group. So for that we'll go back. We'll go to change groups here. We'll select our custom material type. So we'll click on this find icon here, and this time we'll enter YROH here and we'll press enter. So you can see this is our custom material type. So to assign this to a particular group, we have to click on this icon here, and we have to assign it to group 1. And you can see this group 1 has two number ranges assigned to it. One is the internal number range and another one is the external number range, and we can verify these number ranges also. So let's first verify that. So we'll open a new screen. We'll again go to SPRO, SAP reference IMG, Logistics General, Material Master, Basic Settings, and again we'll go to define number ranges for each material type, and we'll click on interval, and you can see these two number ranges are there, 01 and 02. 02 is an external number range and 01 is an internal number range, and this group 1 has been assigned to both these number ranges. This group 1 is assigned to 01 for the internal number range and 02 for external number range. So now let's assign our custom material type to this group. So we'll click OK, and then we'll click on save. Now what we have done, we have assigned our custom material type YROH to group 1, which has both these number ranges available. If we again go to this number range setting, we have 01 and 02. Now let's create the material master through this particular material type. So we'll again go to this MM01 screen, and we'll select YROH, and this time we'll not enter any material number externally. We'll simply press enter here. We'll select basic data 1, and again we'll press enter, and you can see system assigned an internal number to this particular material master, and this number is lying within the range of your material number range. If you go here, we have number range 01 for internal number range assignment, and it is within this range, and system assigned a number within this range only. If you go here, you can see this number has basically 7 digits, which is starting with 97, and if you go to this number range setting, for 01, you have these 7 digits, which is starting from 97, and system has assigned a number within this particular interval. Okay, now let's see how we can create a material master with external number with this material type only. So you can see our external number range is 02. So we'll enter a number in this range and see how system behaves. So let's go to MM01 again. And for external number range assignment, we'll have to enter number here. So we'll go to this setting, and let's select this number here, and let's enter it in the MM01 screen here, and let's press enter. So now you see system allows me to enter number externally also, and system will create this material master with this particular number which I entered in the MM01 screen externally. If I press enter, you can see now system will assign this external number range, but this number I must enter in the given range interval only. If I go back, and again if you go to MM01, and if I enter 4 and all zeros, and if I press enter, you can see system will give me error that number not defined for material type raw materials custom, because I am not entering this number in this particular range here, which is allowed for this external number range assignment. Now let's see how we can create a new number range interval, and how we can create a group, assign that number range interval to the group, and then finally assign that group to the material type. So we can go through the SPRO tree also, or we can go to T code MMNR. This is for number range interval. So we'll go to T code MMNR. So first of all, what you need to do is you need to create a number range group. So we'll click on this particular button here, that is change groups. And now we'll click on this particular icon, that is for create group. Now you can see you can give a description to this group and then assign a number range number with a number range interval. So we'll enter the group name. And here you have to enter the number range number and the interval. Now, as we saw earlier, we have multiple number ranges already created in the system. So you have to understand that whenever you are creating a new number range interval, it should not overlap with the existing number range intervals. Okay. If you enter any number range interval which is overlapping, then system will give you error. So to see what all free number range intervals are available in the system, you can click on this icon here, that is for free intervals, or you can go to interval and click on free intervals here. So you can see system will give you information. If you click OK, you can see all these number ranges are free. That is, no number range has been created with these intervals. So let us select this one and we'll click on OK. So you can see a new number range is assigned by the system with this number range interval, and we are assigning it to this particular group. Now you can see you can add one more number range in this particular group. If you click this particular button here and if you scroll up, you can see system has inserted one more line here with this particular checkbox, that is external. So as we discussed earlier, under a particular group, you can create one number range interval for internal number range and another number range interval for external number range. And you can see I no longer have that plus icon here to add new number range interval. So as we discussed, under one group, you have the option to add one internal number range interval and one external number range interval. So for now, what we'll do for this group, we'll only use this internal number range. So we'll press enter and we'll save this particular group. So what we have done, we have assigned a internal number range interval to this particular group. Now we'll go back. And now what we need to do is we need to assign the material type to this new group. Okay. So we'll first go to our material type. So again, we'll click on this icon and we'll enter YROH and we'll press enter. So we have this material type here. Now, once we have selected this material type, we have to click on this icon here that says assign element to group. So we'll click on this icon here. And here we'll have to select that group that we just created now. Now remember that the group that we created earlier had the number range interval as 40. So we'll scroll down and you can see this is that group that we created just now, that is the custom group. So we'll select this and we'll click on OK. And now our material type has been assigned to this new group. If we again click on this icon and click OK, you can see this YROH has been assigned to this custom group. So now we'll save this assignment. And now we'll create a material code with this material type and see how number ranges are picked by the system. So we'll go to MM01 and we have selected material type as YROH. Let's press enter and we'll select basic data 1 and again we'll press enter. And you can see system assigns this number as per the number range interval which has been assigned to this material type. Let's verify that. So again, we'll go to that assignment and we'll go back. So you can see the number range 40 had this number range interval. So the first number that system assigned was 5, 1 and all zeros. You can see here system automatically assigned this particular number here as per the number range interval that we have created and assigned to our material type YROH. Similarly, you can create another group and then assign a number range to that group and then assign that group to the material type. And in a group, you can have one internal number range interval and one external number range interval. Okay, so in this way, we understood about the material type configuration and the number range assignment. In our next video, we'll understand about the field selection and the screen configurations. We'll also see the configuration related to material length and how it is saved in the system. And we'll also see the setting for key fields for a material master. So I hope that you've understood this concept of material type and number range assignment. And I hope that you've liked this video. If you like my videos, then please like and subscribe to my channel. Your likes and subscriptions really motivate me to create more content on SAP MM on this channel. See you in the next video. Till then, thank you so much for supporting me. Thanks a lot.